guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's topic of the day is how to lose weight and keep it off using intermittent fasting, water fasting, or any other method for that matter. If you're interested in hearing about that, then just keep watching. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate that a lot. And for everyone who's water fasting with me as part of the challenge right now, good job, you got this. This is day 2 for most of us. For those of you who are new to my channel, then welcome to the channel. If you're not part of the Fast Forward to Health accountability group where we talk about fasting, intermittent fasting, and we run challenges, then the link is facebook.com/groups/fastforwardtohealth. I'll put the link down below. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at fastforwardtohealth@gmail.com. I'll put that below as well. If you would like to join our community, join our mailing list, then let me know as well. You could sign up like that. Okay, so keep watching if you're interested in learning how to lose the weight and keep it off using intermittent fasting and water fasting. I've lost about 60 pounds over the course of the year, and I used to yo-yo back and forth so much. I ranged anywhere from 225, and my lowest ever that I can remember since after high school was 149. I'm currently sitting at around 164, and my goal weight is 135, so I'm trying to get down to 135 now. That's why I'm doing these accountability groups, because holding you guys accountable and motivating you guys really motivates me. That's why I keep putting out these videos. So again, I appreciate when you guys follow and subscribe and like and comment. I love this stuff because it gets me motivated to keep you guys motivated. So anyway, that's a little bit of my story. I've lost about 60 pounds so far, and I've been able to keep it off for the first time in my life. And the reason I've finally been able to keep it off is because I did a fundamental change to the mindset and my way of thinking about food. If you don't do that, there's no way you're gonna lose weight, and there's no way that you're gonna keep it off. Even if you lose it all back and you haven't fundamentally changed the core of your mindset towards food and your relationship with food, then it's gonna be very hard to maintain the food, because you're gonna think that you can go back to normal eating once your diet is over. But as you've heard from many people over and over, it's a lifestyle change. Because a lot of people say it's a lifestyle change, but they don't give you the toolkit in order to make that change. So I wanna give you the core fundamental 3 things to do in order to change your mindset about what normal eating is. The 3 main fundamental changes that you're gonna have to make in your eating habits in order to lose the weight and maintain the weight once you're finished losing it. So here we go, we'll jump right into the video. The number 1 key thing that you need to know is that it's almost 100% mental. You need to change your relationship with food and overcome that major obstacle in order to continue to thrive and lose the weight and maintain the weight loss. It's a huge barrier that almost everybody has to overcome, because most of us are so accustomed to what the mainstream society calls normal eating, and I'm gonna explain that in a little bit as well. So the main thing is that you need to change your mindset and reprogram your mind to understand what normal eating is. Especially if you're someone who tends to eat healthy, but you yo-yo a lot and you've always been overweight or have been overweight for a long time, and you yo-yo a lot back and forth, which is what I used to do. This is something that's really important to actually change the way that you think. So the key to losing weight and keeping it off is to make a fundamental change in your eating habits. So I know a lot of people in their videos, they always tell you it's a lifestyle change, it's not a diet, but that's so obvious. We all know that, right? So I want to give you the actual tools and the knowledge that I've actually experienced myself and I've learned along the way in order to understand what that means and what does lifestyle change mean. So what are the actual steps to take to change your lifestyle? By the end of this video, you can use these tools to actually make that shift in your mindset that I've been talking about and understand how to make that lifestyle change to live a healthier life at a normal BMI, and also potentially remove yourself from the denial that you may or may not have been living in. I've heard it time and time again that people are always stuck in this trap of, well, I eat healthy, I don't know why I'm not losing weight, or I eat pretty healthy, but I'm not sure why I can't keep the weight off. I've personally struggled with that for so many years, where I thought, well, I eat healthy, I don't understand why the weight's not coming off. But to a certain extent, you're kind of living in denial, because maybe not everything you're doing is the right thing to do, and maybe you didn't have the knowledge to do the proper things and take the proper steps in order to get healthy and lose the weight and maintain the weight. I also know a lot of people who almost live at the gym. I used to live at the gym doing cardio for hours, strength training for hours. Strength training is actually better than cardio, but we can get into that in a separate video. And still the weight wouldn't come off, or still they wouldn't be able to maintain. But the one little side note to remember is that it doesn't matter how long you go to the gym, how many hours you spend at the gym, you cannot out-train a bad diet. If you think you eat somewhat healthy and you're gonna go out-train the rest of your diet and try to lose weight by going to the gym, that's not gonna happen. So if your number one thing is, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym and eat the same way I'm eating right now that's causing me to be overweight, that's not gonna work. In the same token is that you can actually not exercise at all and still lose weight and maintain weight by doing just like normal day-to-day walks and things like that without spending hours and hours in the gym. Also, my little disclaimer as usual is that I'm not a professional, I'm not certified in anything. If you're starting any new program, make sure to check with your doctor. And I'm just giving my own personal opinion about what worked for me. So this might not work for everyone, but this worked for me and this worked for a lot of people around me as well. That being said, let's get straight into the video. So the main 3 fundamental things that you need to change or evaluate in order to be consistent about your eating habits and change your eating habits are quantity, frequency, and content. Obviously, quantity is how much food you're eating, so the portion sizes. You need to be very aware of that. Number 2 is the frequency. So a lot of people don't notice this, but frequency is the amount of meals that you're eating or the amount of snacks that you're eating. So how many times per day are you actually consuming food? And content, of course, is what you are eating. So what does your food consist of? What kind of foods are you eating? Healthy, unhealthy, junk food, etc. You can absolutely be eating healthy, but you're still consuming too many calories or eating too many meals in a day, so it's causing you to not be able to lose weight or to not be able to maintain your weight if that's your goal. As most of you already know, it's not always the content of the food that's the problem. Sometimes it's the quantity. So you could be eating healthy, but your portions are too big, and then the frequency is too much. So you're eating too many meals throughout the day, and that's adding up to a larger amount of calories than you should be consuming every day. So the recommended daily allowance of calories that you should be consuming in order to maintain your body weight, if you're eating the right foods, but you're eating too much of the right foods and you're eating it too frequently, that's gonna cause you to not be able to lose weight and not be able to maintain the weight. That's why a lot of people, they have that yo-yo and maybe they'll lose the weight by doing some crash diets, but at the end of the day, they're not able to maintain it. That's why I personally recommend that you do intermittent fasting for pretty much the rest of your life. And I know people want to go back to their normal eating habits after they lose weight, but that's the thing that got you there in the first place. So why would you ever revert back to your normal eating habits? You have to redefine what normal is to you. So I would say OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, intermittent fasting, where you only eat 1 meal a day. You can keep all your social activities around that 1 meal if you make it dinner, because typically we go out for dinners with friends, we eat family as a dinner with our family and everything like that. So I would say OMAD, or even if you do another pattern of intermittent fasting for the rest of your life, where you do maybe a window, so you do only lunch and only dinner and you skip breakfast, then that's gonna give you a window of eating, and then you know it's a hard rule for you that anytime it's out of that window, you cannot consume any food. That's just a hard rule. That should be your new rule. That way it's much harder to go over your recommended daily allowance of calories. And that way you'll be able to maintain the weight easier because you're mindfully planning the foods that you're eating. So instead of mindless eating and mindless snacking all throughout the day, you have a window that you've reduced it down to, and then you know that every time you're eating your meals, you're planning them at that time, whether it's lunch and dinner or only purely eating all your calories in dinner, you have that set time and it gets rid of everything else. That being said, the frequency of the meals that I was just talking about, how many times a day you're eating your meal, is really the key to losing the weight, and that's also gonna be the key to maintaining the weight. Let's dive into this whole concept of normal eating habits now. So what do people in mainstream society consider normal? Well, probably everybody's been telling you since you were born, all your friends, all your family, your colleagues, everyone's probably saying you need to eat 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because that's how we were raised, that's what we were taught our whole lives, right? Then how come so many people are overweight? If this is normal and the people who follow this normal eating pattern, then how come so many of us are overweight? There's clearly an epidemic of food overconsumption in our society today. We're eating way too much food. What we consider normal is actually eating in excess. And eating in excess is what's causing everybody to be overweight in our society right now. So maybe normal equals overweight. So that means normal is bad. So we shouldn't be following what people are doing and considering normal, since normal equals overweight. And overweight causes health problems down the road. To be frank, so many people are of a BMI of overweight now that overweight is actually considered the new normal. So when we walk around and we see people, everybody's actually overweight, but we're so used to seeing them being overweight that it becomes the new norm. Which means that in our current society, overweight equals normal. That's really why you need to break free of this mold that society's putting on us and telling us that you should be eating 3 meals a day and that's normal, because normal is not good anymore. Normal equals overweight. So in order to be normal BMI, then you need to be abnormal in your eating patterns and do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, because everybody's overweight. So if you want to be normal weight and normal BMI, then you have to do the opposite of what everyone's doing. That's the same with anything in life. If you want to be successful, you need to do the opposite of what everyone's doing, because most people are not able to achieve that level of success in their lives. So this whole eating 3 times a day thing and eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner is a total misconception. That's why intermittent fasting and water fasting are gaining so much popularity these days, because people are waking up and understanding that in order to have a healthy body weight and in order to be healthy, we have to eat less food because we're consuming way too much food. I mean, really, even water fasting is starting to gain popularity, even though it's supposedly a really radical opinion, because people can't even imagine skipping 1 meal, 2 meals, not to mention skipping a whole day of food. People can't imagine that. But at the end of the day, you need to remember where we came from, where our ancestors came from. So we came from hunter-gatherers, which means that they used to feast and fast. I talked about this in one of my other videos, but they used to feast and fast. So they would go, they would hunt, they would feast, and then for a long period of time, they wouldn't be able to have any access to food. So they would have to fast until they went to hunt their next animal or hunt their next game or gather their new berries and everything like that. So we're not supposed to be eating 3 meals a day. It's totally man-made. This is a new thing that people have been eating 3 meals a day. And now people are waking up and realizing that since our ancestors didn't eat 3 meals a day, why are we eating 3 meals a day? It's not normal, but we've made it normal. The way that our ancestors were eating, the hunter-gatherers, that is the way that we were designed to eat. That is the way that we were built to eat. So you can even throw in some extended fasting for 2, 3, 4, 5 days here and there, and it's actually going to do you some benefits and do you some good, because we're not supposed to be consuming as much food as we consume nowadays, and it gives your body a break. And it allows your body to go through the natural process of autophagy, which is when your body is essentially eating itself and cannibalizing the fat that you have inside your body. So it's eating all your glycogen stores first, all the carbs in your body. Once that's depleted, it's going to start attacking the fat. All this fat that you have stored in your body, it's a gourmet meal for your body. All the minerals are stored in your fat. Everything is stored in your body. So it's allowing your body to actually access that fat and consume that fat before you feed it more. And that way, it's going to take care of loose skin if people are having loose skin when they lose weight. And autophagy helps with your scar tissue. There's a lot of different benefits to fasting. Whether it's intermittent fasting or extended water fasting, there are a lot of benefits to letting your body go through the normal process that it should be going through. It is good to give your body a break from constantly eating. This is why it's so important to, number 1, look at the quantity of the food that you're eating. Number 2, look at the frequency of when you're eating your food. And number 3 is looking at the content and what you are eating. So you need to change what your definition of normal is in order to lose the weight, get down to a healthy BMI, and maintain that weight for the rest of your life without having any more yo-yos and eating problems. With the huge size of our portions nowadays, eating 3 meals a day plus snacks, and the content of our food, which is full of carbs and sugar and junk, there is no way in the world that you will ever be able to lose weight and maintain it for the rest of your life unless you make a drastic change to your eating patterns. And of course, this might not feel normal compared to your peers, your friends, and your family. Maybe you feel like you have to do this for the rest of your life and it's not normal. But obviously, like I mentioned, what normal is actually overweight. You might not feel normal for the rest of your life because normal is actually wrong. This being said, the tools that you need to learn are about how to control the quantity, the frequency, and the content. Once you learn these rules, you're golden. For quantity, for example, there's no problem eating a large portion of meal. As long as it fits in your recommended daily allowance of calories and you only have the frequency of one meal, then you're gonna be perfectly fine. You can eat that big portion as long as the next time you eat is at dinner the next day. So that would be following an intermittent fasting 1 meal a day program. That way, even if you're even roughly eyeballing it, it's a lot harder to go over the recommended amount of calories you should eat in a day when you're only having that one meal. This is a form of intermittent fasting that we call OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. You eat once a day for dinner, and then the next day you don't eat anything at all until the next day at dinner. If you eat anything throughout the day, it will spike your insulin. So it's not good to spike your insulin because that's not proper fasting. You can do black coffee, you can do tea, you can do water, you can add some Himalayan salt to your water to get some electrolytes, but no food, nothing with calories, nothing that's gonna spike your insulin until the next meal the next day, which should be dinner. So it's usually like 23 hours fasted and 1 hour of eating, along those lines. That's usually OMAD. That's a very sustainable way of eating even after you do your water fast or after you finish losing weight. Doing the OMAD eating pattern is gonna help you keep the weight off. And for those of you who are currently losing weight, it's gonna help you lose the weight in a sustainable way. Another alternative is that even if you do a different intermittent fasting window where you do only lunch and only dinner and you skip all your snacks, so you only do lunch, only dinner, that could be another eating window. But as long as you do that, that's a sustainable way to live your life without snacking mindlessly and without over-consuming too many calories throughout the day without even noticing. I personally have been following the OMAD pattern for about over a year now, actually. And do I feel deprived? No, I can eat pretty much anything that I want. I also follow a ketogenic diet, so I'm eating less carbs and no sugar, or as little sugar as possible, because everything appears to have sugar in it these days. But I've been doing OMAD for over a year now, and I feel great. I feel like I can eat the foods that I want. Do people think I'm weird? Of course they think I'm weird. But I want to achieve a healthy body weight and a healthy BMI, which I'm very close to achieving, so that becomes my normal. Because again, like I said, the normal that people have in society right now is a BMI of overweight. So I want my own normal to be redefined, so that's what I now consider normal. Now, moving on to the topic of the content of your food, I believe for sure that everything can be eaten in moderation. If you want some sweets, sometimes you can eat it. If you want some carbs, sometimes you can eat it. But I highly recommend making sure that you keep a lower carb diet and try to avoid sugar as much as possible, because those are the things that cause you the most problems. And those are the ones that make you pack on the pounds the most, and they have almost no nutritional value whatsoever. So it's better to eat more of whole foods. So one thing that's a no-brainer is that if you actually cook most of your meals instead of eating out, that's a way to make sure that the content of your food is actually healthy. The key is to cook more and eat out less. I didn't know how to cook 2 or 3 years ago, and I had to teach myself how to cook. I used to hate cooking. And now that I follow a ketogenic diet, I need to cook everything. Following a ketogenic diet is not that hard because you can eat almost everything. There's a substitution for almost anything. Keto cheesecake, keto candy, keto cupcakes, keto protein bars, keto pizza, keto burger. You can make whatever you want as long as you make it yourself. You can make a keto version. Even just the other day, it was my birthday, so I made myself a keto cheesecake, and the only thing that changes pretty much is the sugar. Instead of putting sugar in it, you use this sweetener that's made from monk fruit and erythritol. It has 0 calories, and it's much better for you than actual table sugar. So if you guys are interested in that, I'm gonna post the recipe soon, and I'm also gonna post the link for the erythritol and monk fruit blend of sweetener down below if you're interested in buying that. There's a couple different brands. There's Krista, Lakanto, and So Nourished. Those are 3 of the ones that I really like using, and they taste really good. I've even made keto creme brulee, and I use that sugar and I caramelize it with a torch at the top. So I'll put all these recipes down one day and I'll make videos for them. But ketogenic is so much easier than I ever thought. So it's possible to eat the foods you love for the rest of your life. You just need to put some effort into substituting the things that are bad for you with things that are good for you while trying to maintain the same taste. It's really just as simple as that. Quantity, frequency, content. That's it. The main takeaways from this video are that if you want to lose weight and keep it off forever, you need to redefine what normal means to you and not compare yourself to what normal means to other people. Number 1, make sure that the quantity of food that you're eating is at least roughly staying within your recommended daily allowance for food or your calorie goals. Number 2, eat less frequently and follow an intermittent fasting pattern, whether it's OMAD or a different eating window in intermittent fasting, whatever works for you. As long as you're following some sort of eating pattern with intermittent fasting, that's gonna make sure that you're not doing any mindless eating and that your meals are very planned. Number 3, be mindful of the content of your food. So try as much as possible to keep your content of your food to a low carb diet and eat the least amount of sugar possible and try to completely cut sugar altogether. That's going to help you maintain the weight, and that's gonna make sure you don't pack on the pounds for the rest of your life. I highly recommend trying out the ketogenic diet or at least having a low carb diet or kind of alternating between it. If you want to keep it low carb most of the time and have some carb days, that's totally fine as well. But as long as the majority of the time you're keeping it low carb and no sugar, then you're going to be good to go. If you want to eat those sweets, you can make those ketogenic sweets with the sweetener that I put below. And there's so many alternatives. So you can keep it low carb and keep it keto if you want, but just make sure that the majority of the time you're keeping it as low carb as possible. And if you want to have some high carb days, that's totally fine. If you follow these 3 golden rules, I promise you, you will never have trouble losing weight or maintaining your weight again. And just remember that normal for us is not the same thing as normal for everybody else, because normal for everybody else is having a BMI of overweight. Just a little recap disclaimer. Again, I'm not a health professional. I'm not a doctor. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. I have no certifications in anything. This is all from experience and what I've learned while doing my own journey of weight loss. So if you're about to start any type of program, make sure to consult your doctor first just to be safe and healthy. Get your blood work done if you want. Make sure they check all your vitals and just stay safe. And again, if you'd like to join our fasting accountability group, feel free to look it up on facebook.com/group/fastforwardtohealth. I'll put the link in the description box below. And if you send me an email to fastforwardtohealth@gmail.com, I can add you to that mailing list as well. So you're getting these videos, and so you're getting some tips every day about the fasting if you want to join the fasting group. So there's so many options. If you want, you can follow the new Instagram page that I built as well. The handle is fastforward_to-health. So feel free to follow, feel free to subscribe. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. You can share it. Make sure you comment down below. Are you currently fasting right now? Are you currently doing keto, intermittent fasting, water fasting? Is there any special intermittent fasting pattern like OMAD that you follow? I'd love to hear all of it, so post it down below. And I hope this helped you guys a lot. I'll see you guys next time. And for those of you who are currently doing our challenge, good luck. We're on day 2 officially right now. So you got this, you can keep going, and I'll check in tomorrow on day 3. Happy fasting, bye.